Saturday morning to join us. You're trying to keep your eyes on the ground, but we also need to be aware because this is a time that none of us or our parents have experienced. It's almost like they've taken a coup of the government and with our money, which is makes me mad. And us understanding this game. So for me, it's putting everybody on steroids. That's why I've created the academy because we can't fight them without money. The mistake that they made was they did allow us to get educated. They trained us in these corporations. They've trained us in the government. So we have been trained up with little money. Now it's time to come back out and share all of that knowledge. Because if you think about wherever you were working, how much people were making off of you. So it's truly a mind shift that we have to think about. We have to, by the grace of God, learn that we are better collectively than we are trying to do this by ourselves. We need each other. We need all hands on deck. We need people to take this serious, um, come together. And once we come together, it really is no stopping us. And that's where the fear is. That's their fear, right? Their fear is that they are slowly becoming the true minority. So this is their way to stop the growth and remain controlled. But right now, they have made me mad, and I need y'all to be just as mad as I am
Mm.
and get into this game and don't give up. It's not easy. It's not easy by no means. But the end result, if you commit, apply, and execute, is a whole lot better. That's why Washington, D.C. has the most wealth for Black owned businesses. Everybody up there is a government contractor. So I'm going to jump in. That's my sermon for the morning. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. But this is just a time that no one has ever experienced. But I also have hope because I know my parents and our ancestors, they didn't have half of what we have. And their fight was a whole lot worse. Um, and we stand on their shoulders. So as I go into this, I am talking about this is the time to be prepared. Last year was preparation. I was calling it out. Come on now, we've got to get together. We've got to get into the game. We can't allow our fear to stop us. And after doing this for 10 years, yay, I've been doing this 10 years. Um, what I've realized over the years is that we stop ourselves because we've convinced ourselves that we're not capable, this is too hard, I'm just going to give up. And I think of again, this generation, my parents, they couldn't give up. And if you're in this game, you have to begin with your why. And my why is my papa. He was one of the first Black police officers in Asheville, North Carolina. He ended up having to sue the police department um, after they stripped him of his stripes. He won, and then he retired and ran for city council. Won, and while he was on city council, he was able to find land by the projects that he felt the kids needed a park. So he was able to get it funded, and we now have a park in his name. And so for me, I stand on his shoulders when I understood the system that he was fighting in his day. And I just remember asking him once he did the law, had the lawsuit or filed the lawsuit, what was it like for him? And he said it was scary because they would send him out to the woods on calls, and he didn't know what he was walking into. Was it a setup? So for me, we've all been groomed for this day based on our parents and what they did to make sure that we were in the position that we're in now. Can I get an amen from the church? That's it.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, start off to give you a little of my background. Originally, again, I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, my first job, I went to Washington, D.C., and my first job was with a company that was a part of the 8A program. For those of you who don't know about the 8A program, we're going to talk about it shortly. I ended up attaching myself to one contract that was a part of the 8A program. And every 3 years, I went to a new company on that one contract. I was not only planning meetings, I was sitting in on the meetings. And as I was sitting in on the meetings, I began to understand exactly how this money flows and how I was getting paid. So that's how I ended up attaching myself to that one contract, understanding that the government was really paying my salary. So the government made sure wherever that contract went, that whoever housed it, they had to hire me. After going through six 8A companies, I ended up cutting out the middleman, decided to start my first business in 96. Our first year in business, I received $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million, had almost $15 million in contracts, almost 40 employees, and 2 business partners. And that's where the challenge began because I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I went from a project manager to running a multi-million-dollar company and could not read a profit and loss statement. Um, I had a bad partner who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the company. The last straw for me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit with his initials going down the pinstripe. I had my assistant to do an audit on his credit card. He takes her in the elevator and threatens her. I then terminate him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. After 2 years of attorney fees, 125,000 in attorney fees, 100,000 to buy him out, had no more operating cash. So I transferred $7 million of my contracts to another 8A firm and closed the business in 2005, which again pushed me to my new passion, understanding that no one was training our community on how to manage a business on that level. So for 2 years, I volunteered as a SCORE counselor. While there, I created a government workshop training program. Ran out of money and was hired by SBA in 2008. And I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. My job was to service the businesses once they got into the 8A program. But that office was also the office that processed all the 8A applications. So I was able to get a clear understanding and build relationships with those individuals to understand why people were being denied or what they were looking for in those applications. I also while at SBA was required to become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece because I ran a business for 10 years, worked at SBA for 7 years, but I wasn't quite sure the steps that the agencies took to actually put that solicitation out for you to compete on. So by becoming certified as a contract specialist, that allowed me to make it a full circle. Trained more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the government and assisted businesses to win over 1.5 billion over the last 10 years across various industries. Yay! And for me, it's none of this is really about the money. Money comes and goes. This is that you all become my legacy. So when I know that you all have won these millions, I know your children's children are now set. So these young ladies that have been successful and men in this, they took it, they applied it, they executed, and now they have generational wealth. I've also self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run, all sort of kind of documenting the challenges I had in that first business. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. So what are the small business challenges? Small business challenges that I saw while working at SBA is that everyone would come to our workshops, would give them all the information on the programs, tell you to go do this, and everybody leaves with, oh, it's wonderful information, but no one is still quite sure on how to connect the dots. Um, and it's the same thing with these government agencies. They don't understand SBA's operations, and it leaves a lot of confusion for everyone. So I am practicing what I preach. I'm building a team of experts, and that's what you're selling to the government. So for me, I understood the team that I've produced and my colleagues, they were the only ones that understood SBA. SBA was very segregated. All the Black people worked with 8A and government contracts, and all the whites worked with lending. But, and all the Blacks was on the lower end, not that many Black managers. But we were the only ones with the knowledge. The management could not process and understand any of these government contracting. So for me, that made sense to bring all of my people that's been there, understand their operations from the beginning, and able to offer us insights on the loopholes. Because I realized we were all trained to be attorneys. My whole job was around the rules and regulations. So my goal is to build a team to identify the loopholes, just as the other side is doing. That makes sense to you guys? Mm. Y'all don't make me feel like I'm out here. I like interaction.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
Miss Paula.
Yeah.
Okay. Barriers. We don't understand the government language. We don't understand the government processes. We don't understand what certifications we really need and what documentation the SBA is looking for. And understanding that the websites are not connected. So my alumni, um, do you all agree with this before taking the program? I got some that's currently on that's in the program. Has the program helped you to understand and navigate some of the space? It's still introductory. Can I get feedback?
Absolutely.
In what aspect?
Before I took the class, I didn't know where to go. what they're going to buy, the forecasting, where what to really go and understand what HHS is looking to do. I'm more in healthcare, so now I know to look at the forecast. I know what websites to go to. I still go back to my notes, and I finished in 2022. So that's my 2 cents. I'll let somebody else chime in.
Let me hear from the old school. Brian, you just started. What are you getting thus far?
Hold on, let me get to my.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, it's showing you exactly, trying to get you acclimated to looking at your business differently and more holistically rather than just being narrow and pigeonholing yourself, and then exactly where to go, the SAM.gov versus USA spending and all that. So, yeah, it's great. Learning a
It,
lot.
it's breaking it down because
Right.
nobody is teaching this.
Right.
And it's basic civics. We talked about in high school. I don't think I took it in college. Remember when they would talk about the schoolhouse rock a bill and all of that process?
Mm-hmm.
We forgot all about that process and how that really does fall into our day-to-day living, but we in our community have not connected the dots. We are so driven by our tax returns or not owing the taxes or trying to zero out our taxes. And that's not how this here America operates. It is driven by the taxes. And so for me, that's all business is about. Where is the tax shelter? So most of us have been trained based on our education is to be laborers. And I realized that again in my first business, my mentor pulled me aside when I started marketing as an event planning company. Why are you pigeonholing yourself? And when he said that, it made perfect sense based on the companies that I had gone through that had won contracts, right? They weren't, everybody in this space pretty much is management consulting, it's project management. And once he told me that, I created the divisions. So that's what everyone learns in that first module. Creating a business model that's not necessarily on your skill set. What I keep saying, what I keep repeating is I'm dressing you up to look like everybody else. You're going to offer the same services that everyone else is offering because the government is buying that. But to have that shift is hard for everyone. It's hard for everyone to understand I don't have to know anything about that contract to win. My job is to build a team of subject matter experts, and that's who I'm marketing to the government. Is that making sense to everybody? You have to build capacity. You cannot do this by yourself. Second is collaboration. Up in DC, everybody knows you've got the team. Why they are the most wealthy county, PG County, is because up in DC, that was the most Black-owned federal contractors. They were always grooming the next person to come in because they knew once they graduated from the program, either they were going to lose that whole contract or at least keep half of it by flipping it. That makes sense to everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Utilizing each other. In the second module, I put everyone into teams. I put them into teams because I'm helping you to build your infrastructure support, not necessarily your skill set. Your skill set is good to help build things that you may be weak in. I might not be the best market researcher and playing with these databases and computers, but somebody in my government ready team has that strength. I may not be the best writer or editor. Someone on the team will have that skill set. This is how we collaborate and understand that I may not always have to take the lead. Where we always get into trouble is the money. Everybody's fighting for the crumbs. And I'm saying I'm willing to take a piece of the crumb because as I get more pieces of the crumb or more pieces of the pie, eventually that becomes a whole pie. But if you got the strength and the network and we can come together and I can bring something to the table, there's no reason that we can't come together because all of these programs and all of these contracts are designed for us to work together. Y'all hear me? Is the church hearing me out there this morning?
Yes.
Yes.
We must have the infrastructure. Infrastructure. What do I mean by infrastructure, class? What's the infrastructure, someone? I just said I got sued. Infrastructure, somebody answer me.
Well, it's your internal operations, um, your HR, your IT, your accounting. Like I know that was a weakness of mine, so I can be very candid and transparent. And it still is, but we're working on it. But that's what you got to have to support you in case someone sues you, or
Correct.
in case you want to bid. They're going to say, "Oh, you don't have your infrastructure together."
Your accounting system. Thank you, Melinda. Your attorney.
Yeah.
As soon as you hire a employee or before you hire an employee, you want to make sure you have employment, practice, liability insurance. It's not that expensive. It's generally about $2,000 a year. Had I had that insurance, that would have uncovered my lawsuit internally from the employees, the buyout with the partner. That's something no one has told me about. So understanding how to protect yourself legally. So in a normal administration, this is still true. The government fiscal year is October 1st to September 30th. While they are trying to finalize that budget, they operate on a continuing resolution. Generally, that budget is passed somewhere between January and I would say between December and January, typically. And the agencies get their money by March or April. So from April to September, they're spending a whole lot of money. So, can anyone tell me, based on what's going on right now, are they operating on a continuing resolution at this state? Anybody?
I don't think so.
Anybody? I gotta pay attention to the news.
Yes, they are.
And when does it end?
I think it's March.
It is March. So, why do you think they're making these moves now, which are completely illegal? They're trying to downsize the government and get rid of all these employees by March. The challenge that they have is they don't have the authority to do what they're doing through these executive orders. So this bullying, intimidating tactic that they are trying to apply to these federal employees. The man who founded Black History is was the first person to have parents who were once enslaved and earned a PhD. I hear somebody in the background. So the thing is that you cannot, we're telling them, don't sign that buyout because they don't have the authority to authorize your payment until the next 9 months. That has to come out of a budget that has not been approved. So it's a con game. It's a con game. And they're playing with people's lives, unfortunately. That's why right now it's more important that we get into the game. They change the rules daily. Okay, change the rules. We just have to understand the rules and adjust to how they're changing up the game. What they've just done through another executive order is normally yearly, SBA negotiate with every agency on achieving these goals for small businesses, and then these percentages for the set-aside programs. What they've done now is instructed every agency that they no longer can have different percentages for each of SBA's program. Now everybody has to be on the even playing field. Previously, where you see small disadvantaged business, President Biden had an executive order to mandate that the agencies increase this percentage to 15%. And you can see the amount of dollars that went towards small disadvantaged businesses / 8A participants. So now where we're getting ready to get hit hard is right here, because this is where most of our dollars did come through. That's going from 12% to 5%. That's what's disheartening. So what I'm telling people right now, on your marketing materials, do not include small disadvantaged business. I wouldn't even if I was 8A, I wouldn't include 8A. You have to be transparent. We're all competing now as small businesses. And are you all hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
But I go back. We're more powerful in numbers. If all of us can come together and go after again, small business, all the other programs, and they're gonna still have this in here, but we just have to be strategic in how we go after these dollars, because to me, I want all the dollars. All right?
Yes.
I go back to the 8A program. What I realized, because again, this program has been enacted since 1968. And it really initiated based on the Civil Rights Act and them making sure that we are able to get a leg up into this program. I mean, through government contract. It was truly a business development program. But over the years, they've diluted it so much so everybody's in, and that's what they're continuing to do. But when I left the DC area and I went to Philadelphia, based on the number of businesses in the 8A in Virginia and Maryland, in Maryland and Virginia, I knew outside of that area, nobody's ever even heard of the 8A program, based on the numbers that are registered. And I refuse to believe that we don't have more than 46 businesses, Black-owned businesses in the state of South Carolina that can qualify into this program. The same thing with North Carolina. So to me, there's been something wrong outside of that beltway. So that's why my message and my assignment is to get us engaged. Even here in Georgia, it's only 208. So what I was finding is the businesses from DC was coming here to win contracts. They had no competition. And here in DC, you got CDC and 5 military bases. Wherever there's a military base, there's a contract. Using this database was which is outlines anytime a contract is awarded, is posted in this database. And data is king. We have to learn how to leverage these databases to create a strategy. I'm not, yes, I preach in the class. Yes, we want to start with the low-hanging fruit, but my goal is for the millions and aligning yourself with those who've already got the infrastructure. But when I looked at this data, maybe you all can tell me what you all see when y'all look at this data that I pulled from USA Spending. What do you see? Hmm? Anybody?
Well, it says that the total small business awards is nationally is 96%.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it looks like it was awarded 83,184,000. Am I reading that correctly?
83 billion national.
Billion.
And so we
Yeah.
took it to national, then I broke it down here for the state of Georgia. Out of the total small businesses awards nationally, how much did Georgia get? And just total small businesses, which is here. Um, Now you're looking at out of that pot, how many of them were Black-owned businesses? And what was their award? And then I did the same thing with the 8A program. And up here, you see, we're not playing. We're not getting a piece of the pie with your tax dollars. I'm gonna keep saying that this is our money that we're giving away, and they think they can have it. This is the database where opportunities are posted. And what you're going to see as it gets closer to September, this number is going to increase. They cannot, they still by law have to meet these goals. So the government specifically have buys that are for small businesses. And again, I do encourage you to go through it because you need to understand the process yourself on these little buys. Those are the buys that are 250,000 and below. And you're not going to have as much competition, whereas everyone else tend to push you to state and local. And to me, if you're looking at state and local, you're dealing with more politics and the pool is larger. Whereas if I'm here in Georgia and I find a contract in California, I can compete on it. So right here, there's an opportunity I didn't even realize that was here. That was due in February 10th. Well, what would I do? Do I need to know? Look, somebody spelled it wrong. Do I need to know anything about being a pianist? What would you all do on this opportunity? Somebody.
Hire somebody that can do that.
How would you go about finding? Hmm? No idea?
I look on Indeed sometimes.
not for a Spanish Protestant religious pianist. Hmm.
I would Google it.
Hmm?
I would Google it.
I would look, all these churches have, first I'm gonna target the Hispanic or Latino community. All of these churches, and based on where it's located, I would target those churches that were Protestant or see if they have an association, right? Like the Catholics. The Catholic has the Catholic Archdiocese. I had someone who submitted for a priest. They just contacted the Archdiocese, told them what they were looking for, and then they directed her to the priest. So thinking outside of the box and not necessarily limiting yourself. This right here is an opportunity that came out last week. It's uh, carpet cleaning, guest rooms, right? It was due February 5th. So this was out 2 weeks. You see the place of performance? Alabama. So I'm already looking at their numbers to see that there's not really that many contractors in Alabama that probably would be going after this opportunity. Carpet cleaning. This is what the scope of work looks like. How would you go about this opportunity? Someone.
I would hire someone to take this a part, at least part of this opportunity.
How would you go about finding them?
Well, I different communities. I mean, I even know people that can actually do this kind of work. So I would reach out to them.
Correct. I just recently got my house um, flooring and carpet. What do you do when you're trying to do it for you personally?
I go to Angie's List and get 3 big.
There you go. You're gonna get 3 quotes. You're gonna send them this amount, ask them how much it's going to cost. You're gonna put your money on top of it because you
Yeah.
still have to manage it. And if I'm here in Georgia and this is in Alabama, I probably would go on site. I would probably go there just to begin to build the relationship and make sure that subcontractor is doing the job. So I'm gonna build my time in it, but my whole point is building my relationship with Sean Johnson. Because if Sean is managing these types of projects, this project, he may be managing multiple projects in that area, right? This is easy.
Yeah.
No furniture to be removed, uh, do clean. Makes sense, right? This is an easy job.
Mm-hmm.
Is the church hearing me this morning? Y'all
Yeah.
quiet?
Where's the
Yes.
amount on
Yeah.
here? How much it is?
Huh?
Where's the amount on here?
You are providing the amount. That's
No,
your
no, no.
job.
What did they? Oh, okay, okay.
Request for a quote. You're providing how much it's going to cost for all of these rooms,
Plus adding yours on
plus
top of
putting
it.
your
Yeah.
time on there and a profit.
Right.
Hmm? So I look at this probably could be maybe just a rough estimate because it's multiple, maybe 25, $30,000 job. Just gleaning at it. Are y'all with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is the forecast. Now, sam.gov, that's live. The forecast, you're looking at the future. The government's going to advertise what they are planning to purchase in that fiscal year. Every agency will have a forecast. I like HUD the most because every month or they're updating what that forecast looks like. And when you go to that forecast, it's going to show you what contracts they anticipating awarding in that fiscal year. And again, it's still relationship. That's what business is about. So you can see that I like new contracts. When you have new contracts, you know you're not competing with someone. Recompete meaning you're recompeting with someone that have that skill, that already has that contract. But you can use these databases and take these contract numbers where you see this 3 to 5 million um, is the estimate. You can actually go and put this in the USA spending and see the exact dollar amount of that contract.
Right.
Now you're in front of that contract and beginning to build your team to work on this contract. And you can reach out to Mr. Former, is that his name, Anthony, and begin to ask just some questions. um, a new contract for security. Right here, my first question would be here. You are identifying this contract as a recompete, but in your description, you're saying it's a new contract. So my question to you, Anthony, which one is it? Is this going to be a new contract added onto the current contract, or how are you all doing this acquisition? Are y'all with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And over here, you see it's a 5-year contract. When they say base plus 4 option years, that's 5 years. And they anticipate it coming July 25th. And then on the new corp contracts down here, again, you can start reaching out. This is the low-hanging fruit. Mr. Davis, they talking about virtual collaboration solutions for the leadership. Are you talking about training? Are you talking about some type of learning management solution that they could connect with? Um, what can you provide any more details of what you're looking for on this contract? So before it comes out in August, I've already aligned up who I need to have. Y'all still following me?
Yes,
That makes sense?
it does. It really does.
Okay. Because on sam.gov, you're reacting. That's just a fishnet. And it's good. You want to throw it out there, react to at least 1 or 2 RFQs a month, follow back up. You have to be consistent. We submit it and then we let it go. But you're not going to win on your first bid because in the end, you've got to build the relationship, just like anything else. People buy people who they trust. So if you send me an email and I don't respond, I'm okay. But after the third email, I'm a government employee. I gotta respond to you. So your after you submit is Mr. Davis. Let's say this was something that was due. Um, I'm just following up on this this RFQ that I responded to. I'm trying to determine if you all have made a decision on this acquisition. Oh, by the way, Mr. Davis, can I send you my capability statement in case something else comes down the pipe? I am a small business and I'm interested in these types of small buys. Y'all hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, y'all taking notes over there, aren't you?
Yes.
Oh,
Now, when it says unrestricted, that means that anybody can get that, right?
that's open.
Yeah,
That's open. So that means the pot is wider.
bigger, right? Yeah.
But this is my strategy for all of y'all in this program. At least the total small businesses that have the larger dollars amount, these are the contracts that you would take to somebody that have the infrastructure that can't compete on there. They may be too big in this industry code, but you're still a small business. So you can take that to them for teaming opportunities. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Will we still have to be, Miss Paula, will we still have to be in the 8A program to do
This has
that?
nothing to do with 8A. We're gonna take 8A off our mind right now because they playing with that.
Okay.
My goal from the jump was to make sure you all are perfected as a small business. And then, by the way, I have 8A as a vehicle. We no longer can lead with all these certifications. You're going to lead that I'm a total small business and these are the services that I'm offering. And by the way, I have these certifications.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You've got to be transparent right now in this time. Um, Now to go into this, you're going to self-certify as a small business. When you're registering in SAM, there's a slot that asks you your ethnicity. And when you select African American, that makes you a small disadvantaged business. I still want you to select it. Because they still have to meet those 5% goals. Most of the agencies previously didn't use that as a standalone. They used the 8A program to meet their goals under SDB because once you're in that program, you're automatically classified as a SDB. There are four sorts of formal certifications: the 8A, Business Development, the HUBZone, Woman-Owned, and Service Disabled, meaning you have to submit an application and be approved by SBA. Now all of these applications, God help us in these databases, because they keep updating them and making them worse. Previously, you went through another database to go through SBA's applications. What they've done is collapse all the programs into one database, and they're calling it My SBA Certification. Previously, if I was applying into the women's program and the 8A program, there was two separate databases and I was uploading some of the same information. So what they've done now, you only upload that information one time, and if it applies across all programs, it's going to now be in one place as opposed to 2 or 3 different places. This is what it looks like. The whole benefits of these programs is, again, sole source and competitive contracts. The 8A program is the only one where you have an assigned person. That was my position. The whole key to this is us creating joint ventures, because the Mentor Protege program allows a large business to come in and mentor you, and you are able to create a joint venture. Now that large business obtains your certification through that joint venture. Now you're able to leverage all of their resources and relationships and money to go after opportunities. That's how you put your business on steroids. Why I'm kicking and screaming about this program, because again, it's a program I grew up in and it's a program to my heart. It's the only program that is designed to build your business by allowing you to go to any federal agency and they can award contracts up to $4.5 million. This is the program that they're trying to attack. They've diluted this program so much, and that was part of the lawsuit last year, where someone sued the SBA and a white woman who said that it was unfair that because she's white, she couldn't get in it, but that's never been the case. Whites could always apply into this program. They just had to provide a preponderance of evidence of how they've been discriminated against. I've been telling businesses all these years is not get into this program until you're ready, because it is a term limit on it. And what I was seeing on the inside is people got into the program and nobody was training or teaching them how to leverage the certifications and wasn't capitalizing on it. Now I'm telling and kicking and screaming right now, anybody that's been in business at least 2 years and meet some of the basic requirements, you have to have some revenue coming in. I want you to start applying now, because I want you to at least be able to capitalize on some of the benefits before they go in and completely destroy it. We don't think they're going to get rid of it, because it's the only program that gives you sole source contracts. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying there? And are y'all clear what sole source contracts mean?
Yes.
So they're just gonna open it up for everybody. HUBZone, all of these other certifications, because the agencies is not have now been their goals have now been decreased, and why this was such a wonderful contracting vehicle, because at the end of the year, if an agency was trying to get rid of their money, they can just do a sole source contract through this program. Now they they're not going to have that luxury, because now it has to be spread, and then they're going to ding those agencies that are superseding those 5% goals in this program. It's a mess. It's a mess. So again, we're just still going to capitalize on all these other programs. The HUBZone is based on where your business is located, and 35% of your employees living in the HUBZone. Previously, the social disadvantage component of the 8A program was based on these ethnic groups. As long as you're a member of any one of these ethnic groups, you automatically met the social disadvantage component. Now you have to write a narrative on how you've been traumatized and discriminated against being Black in America. It is what it is. So they want you to document any acts of discrimination you've had throughout your life of being Black in America as part of your social disadvantage qualification. Also a part of this program, if you have a record but have not been in, or not on parole or not on parole or probation, those individuals can start a business and apply into this program as well. Many of those in our community, which has been heavily touched by that just system, is a setup. And if you think about it, the prison system was designed for free labor, contract labor. So you still have a lot of them making money off of for-profit contracts in those prisons. They're paying them 53 cents to $1 on an hour. How much are they billing the government? Come on, y'all. The economic network, you cannot exceed $850,000. Less any equity in your home and in your business. What I'm trying to do specifically for this program is we've got to bring the haves and the have-nots together. This rule has always occurred in this program where you can own up to 10% of a business, of a 8A firm, and not have to provide any documentation to SBA. You're a silent partner. They just recently in December increased it to 20%. We've got to bring the haves in our community that have benefited from our ancestors back to invest in you guys that are starting out. They can own 20% of your company and not have to provide any documentation to SBA. That's allowing you to have access to capital because they're going to invest. So, because you're going to need money when you win contracts. You get started, you leverage winning those contracts, you buy back that 20% to whoever started that investment, and then you invest in another company 20%. This is how we begin to self-finance ourselves and create our own ecosystem. Did the church hear that game plan?
Yes.
That makes sense to y'all?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't have and they're not giving us money. So we just got to play a different game. HUBZone again, in this program, the difference in this program and the other programs, women's, veterans, is that you have to, in order for an agency to do a sole source contract under this program, there has to be at least 2 businesses that are qualified to perform on that contract. That's called the rule of 2. Whereas in the 8A program, they don't require that. I can go into that agency, sell them my services. They say, ooh, I like you. Here's this $4 million contract. They cannot do that in the rest of the programs. They have to put it out there and make sure they have 2 companies. So you're still competing in these contracts, in these programs, but you're trying to minimize your competition. So the game we play in this program is everybody apply into it, and then you have 2 companies respond to that bid on that same bid. You're trying to force the agency to set it aside. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's a map. If you put the map, your address in here, it's going to tell you whether or not you're located or that business is located in the HUBZone. If you're a home-based business and you're the only employee, you can apply into that program. And HUBZone does not necessarily always mean hood zone. It's based on the areas and it's based on the census tract. So here you can see this was my old employer. It was downtown Peachtree Center, where you have the Ritz-Carlton and all these high-end hotels. But around the corner, you see these areas are designated as a hub zone. They're designated as a hub zone because you have the homeless shelters, you have 5 Points down there, Sweet Auburn, all these areas they get ready to regenerify. As designated as HUBZone. The women's program is broken into 2 components, economically disadvantaged and WOSB. Once you apply for ED, you do not have to apply for the WOSB. This program, again, is now running through my SBA connections.gov. If you're already in the 8A program, you can just submit that acceptance letter and your annual review approval each year. They do have a third party certifier. There's a fee to it. But to me, it makes sense to do it yourself because all you're doing is giving all the information to them to upload into My Certify. Um, these are the qualifications. On the 8A program, I'm gonna go back to it. As long as that program's in there, we're gonna still take advantage. How we create generational wealth. I talked earlier about everybody being grandfathered in. Stacy Mollison, who is one of my proteges, she's followed the blueprint excellent. She's won about $75 million in contracts. She leveraged that to get an Amazon contract. She's now doing development in her company, in her country in Guyana because she has enough resources to do it like that. But at the same time, 3 years ago, her son, who was coming out of the military, is 26 years old. I said, get him in business. He's a service disabled veteran. She pulled all these young people from that were drivers on the Amazon side, and she's trained her son and these young people to do procurement. All they're doing is looking at RFPs and responding to it. So now she graduated in August. Her son is ready to make and apply into the 8A program. She was subcontracting to him those 3 years. Her 23-year-old graduated and with a master's in business. She's like, what y'all doing? I want to get in the game. She came through the program and she's going to be a beast. So this is how we create generational wealth. We've got to give our kids another platform other than what we were taught. No, I'm not expecting that 23-year-old or that 26-year-old to be out there grinding and winning multi-million-dollar contracts. No, they don't have the experience, but they have the exposure. That's what I had as that 25-year-old. I had all these Black-owned companies up there that was teaching me. They gave me the exposure. Our kids need the exposure. Our kids need to know, not as our parents said, go to school, get your degree, and get a job. No, that's not the pathway for us. All right, church, y'all hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Veterans program. They're having the veterans online.
Yes.
Okay, same thing. Veterans, they've now increased your goals to 5%. So those are the certifications that I would be heavily pushing. VA, you're going to get first priority. Your first priority in that program for contracts. So if you're a veteran, you want to make sure you target VA. You all get first service. And thank you for your time. I also, who was that? That was a veteran. Who said they were a veteran?
Gingeria.
Gendria. Wherever military base that you served on, we're gonna go back and find the contract. Because there's that gives you past performance. She worked on that military base, right? Um, do you have a disability or have you been given a disability?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you top your goal. You're woman-owned, service disabled. We're gonna put the 8A on the back, but we're gonna still put it in there. And you get your HUBZone. Now you're killing all the goals. Because what that means for you is that agency gets to check off goals. They get to check off that you're a small business, I get my goal there, your woman on, check off, veteran on. So they're killing one bird with four stones. Does that make sense? Or is that four stones? I don't know. Y'all get what I'm saying, right?
Yes, Ms. Paula.
um, Now, everybody gets confused. We've been trained all these years. Every time I go somewhere, everybody's opening line. I'm a EBE, BD, BB, We go, our opening line is, I am a small business offering these services. And by the way, I do have these certifications. Also understand who's doing what certification is for what. These corporations require these certifications, and these are the agencies or organizations that approve those certifications. That's why I brought in Monique Carter. She worked on the inside of Georgia Power doing the acquisition. Their process to getting their contracts are completely different. So she's going to come in and she's creating a boot camp on March the 6th to walk you through getting in the door at Georgia Power. And she's bringing in her colleagues who are still working there to do a capability briefing so that they now can be assured that they can market your service on the inside to those people who are buying them. Are y'all hearing me? I want all the money because that's still my money.
Yeah.
Federal contracts. We just discussed the states are DBE. They're generally certified through the Department of Transportation. Up in Philadelphia, that's SEPTA. Up in DC, that's Metro. Here in MARTA, they also do the certification. And then you're going to have local certifications. And again, I don't have enough experience in that local or state. I never played in any of those. All my money came from the federal. But some said they're not getting enough bids from the local and state. But what I tell you is once you understand the federal, it's going to be easier to compete on state, local, and corporate because all of them are getting federal dollars, which means some aspects of their bidding has to follow the federal rules and guidelines. So it'll look similar, the information that they're asking you to submit based on the federal guidelines. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, all of these have costs if you choose to do those. State and local are free. This is now going through SBA. The Veterans Program is now managed by SBA as of 2 years ago. That program, they're telling me getting certified in that is 6 weeks. Women's program is taking a little longer. Our program, again, is 18-week program, and people listen to 18 weeks is like, oh, can we do it quicker than 18 weeks? My alumni, what do y'all think? Could you all have learned this in 18 weeks? I mean, a shorter period of time.
No.
And why not?
It was intense. I mean, we had homework, we still had to, most of us had day jobs. So, I mean, it was a lot of work but you needed to do it. And we had teamwork and it was a lot. And I didn't miss a session. I'm just speaking for myself. And it was a lot, but it was good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like there's 3 components I'm looking at now, business ready. Do you know what that was? I thought I knew a little bit, but what's business ready? What's government ready? What's contract ready? It's all different. And we had to change our capability statements. And, like you said, I'm still learning, Paula. So.
Yeah, and this is just that's why I created the academy. This is still just the undergrad. This is still the baby stuff. When you go to bidding on steroids, that's your graduate school because now you have the basic language. Attorney Chandler don't want to do what I'm doing. She just want to get to the you submitting bids. So you're meeting 3 times a week with her. And you're submitting 10 bids in 4 weeks. And some people have won contracts right there in the bid in that 4 weeks. So this is all preparation and it's a lot. And this is the only way that I found for it to be effective. So each component is 6 weeks and you have homework each week and deliverables. And templates. I took everything from that first business and created templates. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just follow the blueprint. The second module is all about strategy, putting you into teams, helping you understand we're better collectively to go after these opportunities. The third module is all around government, the All Small Mental Protege program and the 8A program. I've created a business plan template that you'll use so that you'll know how to date, how to make sure you're getting out of that relationship based on what these programs are looking for. Mental protege program, you can use their infrastructure, they can provide you money, they can do everything to support you, but SBA is watching them to make sure you get what you are looking for out of that program. The class, the class is starting, these are the deliverables. The class is starting February the 11th. Hold on. Yes, February the
Yes, February 11th.
yes, February the 11th, and with Tansy Jones. She is going to be, she was my supervisor. Mm. She was
I
my,
put the flyer in the
oh,
chat,
okay, good.
so
Thank
it's
you.
already in there. Take a screenshot or copy, do what you need to do, and it's there for you.
Okay. Anybody else? Y'all have any questions? Again, I know I have a lot of the old school alumni in here. I hope that was a good recap for everyone that was in here. The old school.
Yes.
Yes, it was, Miss Paula.
The
Thank
new
you.
ones. What was y'all takeaway? Gendra and Gendra's mother. I forgot her name. She's on the Zoom user. What was y'all takeaway? Y'all the new babies. And Miss Brown. Miss Brown was the okay, yes.
Yes, ma'am. This is Gendria. There was so much value, many things that you talked about that I never, that I haven't heard of before. So thank you so much, Miss Paula, and your team for everything that you're doing. This is so much value in this program.
Oh yes, and I still have the I'm till Monday. Look, I'm too soft. I'm not a good salesperson, but I do have $200 off. If you go ahead and purchase that today. If you bring in a second person, it's $1,000. I'm still trying to minimize your costs. If I could give this away free, I would, but I'm in business. Um, but the goal is to get as many in the game now. So at least we're playing. We're not even playing. And so with that being said, can I get some takeaways from today? Anybody?
Miss Paula, is that this program that you presented a few years ago that I was in? Is that the same program?
Which program? The bidding on steroids?
Oh no, I've been to that. I've been through that program as well. I've
Uh,
been to your program and Ms. Chandler's.
yes, if you go to if you go to I forgot to introduce that. If you go to the website, I'm hosting a lot of free lunch and learns with the different people that will be coming through it as part of the academy. The academy now includes the training program. We're also offering coaching services. We're rolling out a membership subscription. We're doing mini classes, pricing for beginners. Stacy's gonna do that in March. The corporate training, the bidding on steroids. So we built it out with all of these individuals that have that institutional knowledge. She was the architect of the Mental Protege program when it came in existence. So my goal is to stack it up on this side. Also, I'm encouraging everyone to come to this if you are available. We need to come together collectively because I'm hearing anxiety. I'm hearing a lot of stuff from people. Um, we're carrying a lot, and I'm hearing it a lot more so from my sisters because I guess that's the dominant. We want to manage with our men too, because right now everyone's carrying too much, and as long as you're carrying all this load, we can't be successful. So I wanted to provide a space for us to rejuvenate with Sister Jewel Diamond Taylor. She was the one who walked me through a lot of my trauma and crisis. So make sure you save the date, sign up for this early bird special. I'm going to have her on next Friday. She's a dynamic sister, just love her dearly. So I just told her we need help. Um, on the 21st, this is Monique. She's still in Southern Company. She's going to break down how that our organization is structured. How do you go about getting into it? That's another luncheon and learn. And then Miss Stacy's going to come in and give us a brief overview on strategies she used based on the type of contract. One contract is not the same as the other. And then that class is going to start again on Tuesday with Miss Tansy. Any
Yes.
questions?
And I put all of those flyers in the chat so you could take a screenshot or copy, paste, and they're right there for you if you didn't get a chance to do it from Paula's screen. They are in the chat.
We're moving this train. We're building our own school. We're building our own school. And the more that y'all get it, the more y'all got to come back to the school. All right?
Okay.
All right. And if y'all have any questions or need a copy of this video, please put your information in the chat. We'll make sure you get it. All right, for Black History Month, I need more Harriets, and Brian, you're the only male representing. You're Nat Turner. So Nat, I need you to bring the men along, all right? Brian, where the men? He must have muted me. But thank you, Melinda. I so appreciate seeing everyone. Miss Gibson, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while.